They took over an area in Seattle, and they're guarding it with guns. They tried to do it in Portland as well. Does the federal government have a responsibility to protect citizens of our country if the cities and states won't do it? Because people's property have been damaged. There are people who don't want this autonomous area in Seattle around their homes.
Right. Well, in the first instance, it's the responsibility, obviously, of the local officials and then the state officials to protect the rights of their citizens. At the end of the day, the federal government does have a responsibility to make sure that citizens are not deprived of their federal rights.
So will you challenge that autonomous city? Will you sue the mayor? What can you do?
Well, I don't want to get into specifics, but we're obviously keeping an eye on it. And as the president said, in due course, we may have to do something about it, but we can't let it go on indefinitely.
He says, we're keeping an eye on it, talking about Chop or Chaz or whatever name they want to go by these days. His body has been singing with him. It continues to sing with him. But as he says that, he's accessing the emotion. And because he's so far over there, it's like there's a doing part with it as well. So they're already in the process of doing something. It could be as little as talking or actually movement of troops. We have no idea. But they're doing something.
The American people are being censored. Conservatives are being censored. The information flowing to the American people is being censored. Are you worried about this going into the election?
Yes, I am worried about a censorship. I'm worried about a number of things going into the election. One, the censorship of robust debate. I'm also worried about undermining the public confidence in the integrity of the elections. The thing we have going for us, especially when there's intense division in the country, is that we have peaceful transfers of power, and our way of resolving it is to have an election. But when governments, state governments, start adopting these practices like mail-in ballots that open the floodgates of potential fraud, then people's confidence in the outcome of the election is going to be undermined. And that could take the country to a very dark place if we lose confidence in the outcomes of our election. So
I'm actually really glad to see him speak on this. He's not giving talking points. He's giving you his true opinion on what this could mean if we do not trust our elections. And it's refreshing to see someone of his position and these high positions understand the societal consequences that this could have. He doesn't really get too deep into it, but the words that he uses as he describes what could be is dire enough. I mean, you're looking at, especially with the tensions and the war that's already been enacted on us now, that civil war is a very high probability if we don't trust the outcome.
The censorship, the censorship has a number of effects. It also, free speech, being able to get your viewpoint out is a release. It takes some of the pressure out. If people are prevented from expressing their views, that's where you start getting extremism. And so the more ventilating of viewpoints we have, the healthier it is for our country.
Well, there's a big discussion right now about mail-in voting. Hillary Clinton said it's fine, it's fair.
Well, it absolutely opens the floodgates to fraud. Those things are delivered into mailboxes. They can be taken out. There's questions about whether or not it even denies a secret ballot, because a lot of the states have you signing the outside of the envelope. So the person who opens the envelope will know how people voted. There's right now, a foreign country could print up tens of thousands of counterfeit ballots and be very hard for us to detect which was the right and which was the wrong ballot. So I think it can upset and undercut the confidence in the integrity of our elections. If anything, we should tighten them up right now.
Senator Hawley has a bill to give Americans the right to sue technology companies like Facebook, Google, Twitter, and if they enforce terms unfairly, should people be having the right to sue these companies?
Yeah, I think there should be more control on how they use data, how they use personal data, and give consumers the right to sue the companies if it's used improperly and not according to the terms of service, or they don't fully disclose, they're not transparent about it.
I know that you did not pursue this position, and in your confirmation hearing in January of 19, you said that you ultimately came back to restore confidence in the system. So I want to ask you how we do that, because we are deeply divided in this country. We know that. And it does look like there are two standards of justice. You go back to 2016, and there were two investigations going on, one into Hillary Clinton's email use and the one into Donald Trump and collusion with Russia. We know officially there was no collusion. With the Hillary Clinton investigation, Jim Comey was told by your predecessor, Loretta Lynch, to call it a matter, not an investigation. Bill Clinton met Loretta Lynch on a tarmac 3 days before Hillary was to talk to the FBI. How do you explain that to someone who wants to believe that there's fairness in this country?
Well, I do believe there were two standards of justice during a period of time toward the end of the Obama administration. And all I can do about it is apply one standard of justice, the right standard of justice, and make sure we...
I like how I actually had some memory in that. All I can do, and he's looking up, is apply one standard, and they're on the conversation of Hillary Clinton emails. The mind's funny in that way. If I'm talking to you about hamburgers, and then I switch gears and talking about meat in general, but the conversation has only mentioned hamburgers, and you're asked about whether you like ketchup or not, the mind is going to sit there and go, yes, I love ketchup on my hamburgers. Your mouth is just going to say, yeah, I like ketchup, and it can be misconstrued as you like ketchup on all your meat. That's kind of like here. We're talking about fairness in the justice system. What has been mentioned is the Trump-Russia collusion investigation and the Hillary Clinton emails. So his mind is on, I'm going to apply one standard of justice, pretty much on everything. But the forefront of the mind is Hillary Clinton emails and whatever that entails.
Apply it to everybody equally, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Are you looking again then at what took place with the Hillary Clinton investigation?
I don't want to get into any particular investigation right now.
Why did
I don't want to get into any particular investigation right now. And his lip literally gets tucked into his mouth. Mouth goes tight. He's got it to the side, kind of backing away. Get away, get away, get away. Sensitive subject. Now we all know, or I should say we all suspect, Durham is doing his job. It would explain why Barr is behaving the way he's behaving on the subject. But it's nice to see confirmation.
the DOJ charge General Michael Flynn with false statements, yet did not charge Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe with the same charge?
Well, again, all I can say, I don't want to discuss the details of any particular case, but...
And in this moment, you see him, he's looking down, he's avoiding eye contact, he's got his hand up in that stop, back away. It's a barrier.
Criminal case, but all I can say is that we are trying to apply the same standard to everybody.
He's cutting it, and he's speaking about the same standard of justice for everyone. In that instance, that chopping motion, that's his weapon. It's a definitive mark. It's going to be the same standard of justice for everyone. I know everyone likes to cry about Manafort and Stone, but I take solace in knowing that if they're going to give those two that much time, just imagine what they're going to give to the other douchebags who are actually douchebags.
Well, we've gotten from the mainstream media sort of bovine silence in the face of the complete collapse of the so-called Russiagate scandal, which they did all they could to sensationalize and drive. And it's like not even a whoops, they just on to the next false scandal. So that has been surprising to me, that people aren't concerned about civil liberties and in the integrity of our governmental process. In terms of the future of Durham's investigation, he's pressing ahead as hard as he can, and I expect that, we will have some development.
So we had some believe me look. He's in the avoidance mode again. That is Barr. He's leaning to the side. He's looking down. This is an area he doesn't really want to be in. And as he answers the question,
Developments, hopefully before the end of the summer.
Hopefully before the end of the summer. And then you see a whole lot of stress in the eyes with the blinking. He's got a doing motion going in there too. And he's got a motion, which pretty much is like that gut feeling because of the words that he's using. So the short of it is he feels that there's going to be something by the end of the summer. Something. That does not mean the whole enchilada. It just means something.
But as I've said, his investigation will continue. It's not going to stop because of the election. What happens after the election may depend on who wins the election.
And then you see that one where he talks about depends on who wins the election. And you get a tight, stressed lift of the face. It's not even a smile. On someone else, it would be a stressed smile, but him's, he can't hide. He just doesn't have the face for that. So it's just that stress pullback of the mouth. Depends on who wins the investigation. And to me, it's an inside look at the people who are up there watching everything unfold and the stress of trying to keep the elections honest and fighting back on a vote by mail. Barr isn't completely confident yet because it's still stressing him. You may have the heart and minds of the people, the majority, but when you're in the midst of the battle, it's hard to see how much ground you have taken or have lost, and it stresses you. I think we'll leave it there.
There has been delay because of the pandemic. Yes, there has.
An inability to interview people?
Yes. Not an inability, but a distinct slowing down of that process.
Because you can't gather a grand jury?
Well, I don't want to suggest there has been or is a grand jury, but...
Oh, there was a slight smile as he was going back and forth. I don't want to suggest. We'll leave it at that. All right, I'm done.
If you'd like to learn more about analysing body language, there is a video course available on Mandy's website for Gold subscribers, where Mandy teaches more about her techniques of deception detection. There's also other content such as the Crime series and Interesting Minds series available to both Gold and Silver subscribers.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.